There was a time when getting fast food meant parking your car, rolling down the windows, and watching an entire meal unfold around you. You didn't just pick up dinner, you stayed for the experience. Carhops walked between rows of vehicles, trays hooked onto windows, neon signs lit up the night, and the parking lot itself became part of the restaurant. But then something strange happened. The cars stayed, but the restaurants changed. Instead of parking and eating, people began pulling up to a window, grabbing their food, and driving away in minutes. The drive-in didn't simply disappear. It evolved into something faster, more efficient, and far more compatible with modern life. So why did drive-thrus replace drive-ins? Let's find out together, right here, on History of Simple Things. The American drive-in emerged during the automobile boom of the early 20th century, when owning a car was becoming increasingly important to everyday life. Restaurants realized they didn't necessarily have to make customers leave their vehicles to eat. By the 1930s, and especially after World War II, drive-ins became a recognizable part of American culture. Customers pulled into designated parking spaces while Carhops brought food directly to them. Meals could be eaten inside the vehicle while listening to the radio or talking with friends. The concept fit perfectly with post-war America. Cars were becoming larger, highways were expanding, suburbs were growing, and people were increasingly comfortable doing ordinary activities without leaving their vehicles. But there was a problem hiding underneath all that chrome and neon. Drive-ins required space. Lots of it. A drive-in depended heavily on human labor. Imagine a busy Saturday night. Dozens of cars are parked outside. Each customer places an order, and a car hop has to carry that order across the parking lot. Then another order comes in, and another. It worked when traffic was manageable, but fast food restaurants were becoming increasingly focused on speed, consistency, and lower operating costs. Having employees constantly running between the kitchen and parked cars was inefficient. There was another limitation: customers had to stop and stay. A drive-in could serve plenty of people, but every parking space effectively became a temporary dining room. If customers sat around talking, that space couldn't immediately be used by someone else. Restaurants needed a way to serve more customers without requiring more land. The solution was remarkably simple: bring the car directly to the restaurant. The drive-thru fundamentally changed the restaurant experience. Instead of parking, ordering, waiting, eating, and eventually leaving, customers followed a simple sequence: enter, order, pay, collect the food, and leave. The restaurant could now operate with a much smaller footprint. There was no need for a huge parking lot filled with individual dining spaces. There were no car hops carrying trays to parked vehicles. Customers didn't have to remain on the property any longer than necessary. The kitchen became the center of the operation, while the drive-through lane became a controlled path through the business. Ordering, payment, and food collection could be separated into distinct stages. It sounds obvious today. At the time, it represented a major change in how a restaurant could process customers. The drive-in sold an experience. The drive-thru sold convenience. That distinction became increasingly important as American life became faster. After World War II, suburban development pushed homes, workplaces, shopping centers, and restaurants farther apart. More people were commuting by car, and the automobile became less of a novelty and more of an everyday necessity. That changed what people wanted from fast food. If someone was heading home after work, they didn't necessarily want to spend half an hour sitting in a parking lot. They wanted dinner, and if a restaurant could save several minutes on every transaction, those minutes added up. A drive-thru could serve customers continuously without requiring every customer to occupy a parking space. The restaurant wasn't just selling food anymore, it was selling time. Technology helped make the drive-thru practical. One important innovation was the two-way intercom. Instead of walking up to a counter or waiting for a car hop, customers could speak directly to an order-taking station from their vehicles. The restaurant could receive an order before the customer reached the pickup window. That created something the traditional drive-in struggled to achieve, a predictable production sequence. The order comes in, the food is prepared, payment is collected, the food is handed over, the car leaves. Every part of the process could be organized and optimized. That made the drive-thru particularly attractive to the growing fast food industry. Drive-ins didn't suddenly become bad restaurants. The world around them simply changed. Land became more expensive. Labor costs mattered more. Traffic increased. Customers became accustomed to faster service. And restaurant chains wanted formats that could be reproduced in thousands of locations. A giant drive-in with a huge parking lot was difficult to fit into every neighborhood. A compact restaurant with a drive-through lane was much easier to standardize. This was crucial for fast food chains. Restaurants could be designed around repeatable layouts, standardized menus, and carefully controlled customer movement. The drive-thru was essentially the industrialization of the restaurant visit. So the real story isn't that Americans suddenly stopped liking drive-ins. The automobile changed, cities changed, restaurants changed, and most importantly, the value of time changed. The drive-in was perfectly suited to an era when the car represented freedom, leisure, and entertainment. The drive-thru was better suited to an era when the car represented transportation, commuting, errands, and efficiency. And once fast food became a highly optimized business, the drive-thru had an enormous advantage. It could move customers through the system without asking them to stay. Today, pulling into a drive-thru feels so ordinary that it's easy to forget how revolutionary the idea once was. What looks like a simple window and a few painted lanes is actually the result of changes in automobiles, urban design, labor, technology, and consumer habits. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.